Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a deep dive into mindfulness and meditation, but not just like the surface level stuff, you know? We've got some really interesting sources here that reveal some pretty fascinating insights, especially about how these practices can actually improve your daily life in some really tangible ways.
Mm.
I was actually surprised by some of this research. We're talking about specific techniques you can use right now, not just esoteric concepts.
Yeah.
And get this, mindfulness, it's not just for like spiritual gurus or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
powerful tool for anyone, regardless of your background or beliefs.
Yeah, it really is.
So buckle up because this is going to be a journey of discovery.
It's interesting. People often use mindfulness and meditation kind of interchangeably, but they're actually distinct practices that work best together. Mindfulness is about being fully present in this moment without judgment. It's like hitting pause on your mental autopilot, and just tuning into your thoughts, feelings, and even your physical sensations. So instead of just like rushing through the day on autopilot, we're actually becoming aware of what's happening within us and around us.
Exactly. And meditation is a more focused practice.
Mm.
It often uses tools like breath work or mantras to quiet the mind and reach a deeper state of awareness. Think of it as training for your attention.
Okay, so it's not just about like sitting cross-legged chanting Om for hours on end, which is what I always pictured.
Right. These practices are incredibly adaptable to your own needs and lifestyle. And the research shows that even short bursts of mindfulness can have a big impact, especially when it comes to stress reduction.
Everyone talks about that, but what's the actual science behind it?
Well, one study found that just 10 minutes of daily mindfulness can actually reduce cortisol levels by 15%. And that's cortisol, the stress hormone. When you're mindful, you actually become more attuned to your body's signals. You notice those early signs of stress, maybe tension in your shoulders, a racing heartbeat, before they spiral into a full-blown panic attack.
So it's like mindfulness gives you that early warning system so you can respond more calmly.
Precisely. Plus, there's a whole cascade of physiological benefits: reduced muscle tension, improved heart health. Mindfulness really does impact your body. But it's not just physical, it's mental too. Mindfulness helps you observe your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
That's where emotional regulation comes in.
Exactly. You create a space between yourself and your reactions, giving you more control. One quote from the sources that really captures this is, mindfulness is not about thinking, it's about being. It's about being fully alive, aware, and present in this moment. It's about shifting from a mode of constant doing to simply being.
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. It reminds me of how easily I get distracted, constantly switching between tasks and having a million tabs open in my brain. So tell me, how can mindfulness help with focus and concentration?
Well, think of all the distractions we face these days. Notifications, emails, just this constant barrage of information. Mindfulness actually offers techniques to train your attention and stay present, even amidst the chaos. One of the simplest and most effective techniques is breath awareness. By focusing on the sensation of your breath, you anchor your mind to the present moment.
I have heard of that, but honestly, it sounds kind of basic. Just sit there and breathe. How does that actually help?
It's more than just breathing. It's about bringing your full attention to the physical sensation of each inhale and exhale. It's a way to interrupt that constant stream of thoughts and bring yourself back to the here and now. And there are actually different breathing techniques that you can explore, like box breathing, which involves inhaling, holding, exhaling, and holding for equal counts. This technique is even used by Navy SEALs to stay calm under pressure.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's like a mental workout for your attention span.
Exactly. And the research shows that it can translate into real-world benefits, like better decision-making and increased productivity. When you're less distracted and more focused, you can accomplish more in less time.
That's something I think we all could use a little more of. What are some other techniques people can try? Besides, just focusing on the breath.
Another powerful technique is the body scan meditation. You systematically bring your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations that arise, without judgment. It helps you develop both focus and a sense of groundedness.
So you're not trying to change anything or analyze why you feel certain sensations, just noticing them.
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
about cultivating a non-judgmental awareness of your physical experience. And then there's mindful observation,
Yeah.
where you practice observing your thoughts and surroundings with a sense of curiosity, again, without judgment. This helps develop sustained attention, which is incredibly valuable in our fast-paced world. Imagine being able to stay focused on a task without constantly getting sidetracked.
That would be a game changer. Okay, so we've talked about breath awareness, body scans, and mindful observation. But what about the emotional side of things? How does mindfulness actually help you regulate your emotions, especially the difficult ones?
Well, those techniques we've discussed can be incredibly helpful for regulating emotional highs and lows. When you focus on your breath, you're actually calming your nervous system, which can de-escalate feelings of anxiety or anger. And remember, the body scan. Well, it can help you ground yourself and become more aware of the physical sensations associated with different emotions. For example, you might notice tightness in your chest when you're feeling anxious, or a warmth in your face when you're feeling embarrassed.
That makes sense. By tuning into those physical sensations, you're becoming more aware of what's happening emotionally.
Exactly. And there's a specific type of meditation called loving kindness meditation that can be particularly helpful for emotional regulation. It cultivates feelings of compassion and kindness, starting with yourself and then extending outwards to others.
That sounds lovely. But how does being kind to yourself translate to managing, say, anger or frustration in a difficult situation? It seems like those are times when self-criticism might be more likely to pop up.
You're absolutely right. But by practicing loving kindness meditation, you're essentially training your mind to respond to challenges with greater empathy and understanding, both towards yourself and others. It's about developing a more compassionate and understanding relationship with your inner world.
So instead of beating yourself up for feeling angry or frustrated, you're learning to acknowledge those emotions with kindness and understanding.
Exactly. And this shift in perspective can be a game changer in terms of navigating challenging situations
Yeah.
with more grace and resilience.
Okay, so we've covered stress reduction, focus, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. It's pretty clear these practices have a lot to offer. But what about their impact on overall mental clarity? Can mindfulness help you achieve that elusive sense of inner peace that everyone seems to be searching for?
That's a great question. And it's another area where the research is fascinating. Mindfulness, with its focus on the present moment, helps you gain clarity on your mental and emotional states. It's like shining a light on your inner world so you can see things more clearly. Meditation, on the other hand, quiets the mind and achieves a deeper sense of inner peace by observing thoughts without judgment.
So mindfulness is about illuminating your inner landscape, and meditation is about creating space within that landscape.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And the research suggests these practices can lead to significant improvements in cognitive function, emotional regulation, and overall happiness.
Okay, so I have to ask about the spiritual side of things. You know, some people might be hesitant to explore mindfulness and meditation because they associate it with organized religion
Yeah.
or specific belief systems.
That's a common misconception. While these practices can certainly deepen one's spiritual connection, they don't have to be tied to any particular religion or dogma.
So you can benefit from these practices even if you're skeptical or identify as an atheist?
Absolutely. The benefits, like stress reduction and improved focus, are accessible to everyone, regardless of their beliefs or background. Mindfulness meditation is often described as a journey of self-discovery that can reveal a sense of interconnectedness and purpose.
So it's more about exploring your own inner world and how you relate to the world around you.
Exactly. And that exploration can be incredibly transformative. It can help you overcome fears, break free from old habits, and cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude for the present moment.
That's powerful stuff. Okay, let's get practical for a moment. How can someone actually start incorporating mindfulness into their daily life? It can seem a bit daunting, especially with everything else going on.
You know, one of the most reassuring things is that you don't have to become a monk or meditate for hours to reap the benefits. It's about finding small, accessible ways to weave mindfulness into your existing routine. One of the simplest and most effective practices is mindful breathing.
Okay, we touched on that earlier, but to be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on how to actually do mindful breathing. Can you break it down for me?
Of course, it's as simple as taking a few minutes each day to focus on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you like, and just notice the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. As you focus on your breath, you might notice that thoughts come up, and that's perfectly normal. Simply acknowledge them without judgment and gently redirect your attention back to your breath.
So it's not about forcing yourself to stop thinking altogether, but rather about noticing those thoughts and gently guiding your attention back to your breath.
Exactly. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the easier it becomes.
That makes sense. What are some other ways people can incorporate mindfulness into their daily routines?
Well, think about the activities you already do every day. Walking, eating, even showering. These can all become opportunities for mindful awareness. Instead of rushing from point A to point B, try mindful walking. Pay attention to the physical sensations of walking, the sights and sounds around you. It's about turning an ordinary activity into an opportunity for present moment awareness.
So I'm guessing mindful eating is about more than just shoveling food into your mouth while scrolling through your phone.
You got it. Mindful eating is about savoring your meals by paying attention to the tastes, textures, and smells of your food. It's about slowing down and appreciating the experience of nourishing your body. You might even find that you enjoy your food more when you eat mindfully.
I'm starting to see how this can fit into anyone's life,
Mm.
but I imagine there are challenges. Like, what if you just can't find the time, or your mind keeps wandering, or you just feel uncomfortable trying to meditate?
Those are all valid concerns.
Yeah.
And one thing I found really fascinating in these sources is how even small mindful moments can actually make a difference.
I'm all about making things easier, not harder, so that's good to hear.
Exactly. You don't have to overhaul your entire life to benefit from mindfulness. We were talking about how to weave mindfulness into everyday activities.
And how even small mindful moments can actually make a difference.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about making things easier, not harder.
Exa-
So that's good to hear.
You don't have to overhaul your entire life to benefit from mindfulness.
Okay, so back to those challenges we were about to tackle, like the time thing.
Yeah, one of the biggest hurdles people face is finding the time to practice. Our lives are so busy, it can feel like there's just no room for one more thing.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Between work, family, trying to have some semblance of a social life, it's hard to prioritize anything else.
I hear you. And that's why it's crucial to start small and be realistic about your expectations.
So no need to quit my job and move to a monastery. Just kidding. But seriously, what's a manageable starting point?
Even 5 or 10 minutes of focused breathing can make a difference. The key is to find what works for you and integrate it into your existing routine.
Make it a habit, not a chore.
Exactly. One way to do that is to link your mindfulness practice to an existing habit. For example, you could do a few minutes of breath work every morning after you brush your teeth, or even while you're waiting for your coffee to brew.
I love that idea. It's like piggybacking on an existing routine so it becomes more automatic.
Another common challenge is that wandering mind. It's completely normal for thoughts to pop up during meditation, especially when you're first starting out.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. My mind is like a popcorn machine, thoughts popping up everywhere.
That's a great analogy. But here's the thing. It's not about emptying your mind completely. It's about noticing those thoughts without judgment and gently guiding your attention back to your breath or your chosen point of focus.
Okay, so it's more about managing the mental chatter, not silencing it completely.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the better you'll become at recognizing when your mind has wandered and bringing it back to the present moment.
What about physical discomfort during meditation? I know some people find it hard to sit still for long periods.
That's a valid concern. And it's important to listen to your body and adjust your position if you need to. You can also try using props, like cushions or blankets for support.
So there's no need to force yourself into a pretzel-like position if it's not comfortable.
Not at all. The point is to find a position that allows you to relax and focus on your breath. And if sitting meditation isn't working for you, remember, you can try walking meditation. It's all about finding what feels good for your body.
Wait, so we talked about time constraints, wandering mind, and physical discomfort. What about that feeling of being stuck or not making progress? I imagine that can be really discouraging, especially for beginners.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that mindfulness is a journey, not a destination. Some days your practice will feel easy and effortless, and other days it will feel like a struggle.
Kind of like life itself.
Exactly. The key is to be patient with yourself and not get caught up in comparisons. Every time you bring your attention back to the present moment, you're strengthening your mindfulness muscle.
So even if you only manage a few seconds of focused attention, it's still progress.
And remember, mindfulness is a lifelong practice. There's always more to learn and discover. It's not about reaching some state of perfect mindfulness, but rather about continually cultivating that awareness in our daily lives.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And integrating mindfulness into the fabric of our being so it becomes a more natural way of living.
When we were talking about mindfulness and spirituality earlier, I was intrigued by the idea that these practices could actually lead to positive change in the world.
That's a really important point, and one that the sources highlighted as well.
So it's not just about feeling good, but also about doing good.
Precisely. When you cultivate mindful awareness, you become more attuned to the needs of others and the interconnectedness of all things. This can lead to a natural outpouring of compassion, kindness, and a desire to make a positive difference.
It's like mindfulness expands your circle of concern beyond just yourself.
That's a great way to put it. And this can show up in so many ways. Volunteering your time, being more conscious about your consumption habits, or simply treating others with more kindness and compassion.
So it's about bringing that mindful awareness into every aspect of our lives, from the small, everyday interactions to the big, world-changing actions.
Exactly. And the ripple effects of this kind of mindful action can be truly transformative. Imagine a world where everyone approached life with this level of awareness and compassion.
That's a world I think we all want to live in.
Right. And it starts with each of us cultivating that awareness within ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the challenges, and the potential for positive change. But I know for some people, the spiritual side of mindfulness can feel a bit intimidating or woo-woo. What would you say to someone who's hesitant to explore that aspect?
It's completely understandable to feel that way. And I want to emphasize that mindfulness doesn't require you to believe in anything specific or adopt any particular spiritual beliefs. It's simply about cultivating present moment awareness and observing your experience without judgment.
So you don't need to be a spiritual seeker to benefit from these practices.
Not at all. The benefits of mindfulness, like stress reduction, improved focus, and emotional regulation, are accessible to everyone, regardless of their beliefs or background.
That's good to know. It means mindfulness is truly a universal practice.
And, even if you approach mindfulness from a purely secular perspective,
Yeah.
the practice itself can lead to some really interesting insights and realizations that might be considered spiritual in nature.
Really? I'm curious, how so?
Well, when you cultivate deep presence and observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you start to notice patterns and connections you might not have seen before. You might gain a deeper understanding of your own motivations and behaviors, or experience a sense of interconnectedness with the world around you that feels really profound.
So even if you don't set out seeking spiritual enlightenment, the practice of mindfulness could potentially lead you down that path.
It certainly can. And for many people, that's one of the most rewarding aspects of the journey. But again, it's not a requirement. You can explore mindfulness purely for its practical benefits.
Okay, that makes sense. It seems like mindfulness is a practice with many layers and dimensions. It can be as simple as focusing on your breath, or as profound as experiencing a deep connection with the universe.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's what makes mindfulness so compelling and enduring. It's a practice that can meet you wherever you are on your journey and offer something valuable, whether you're seeking stress relief, improved focus, spiritual growth, or simply a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you.
It truly is a practice with something for everyone. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier, the research behind all of this.
Yes, let's delve into the science that supports these incredible benefits.
Because it's one thing to talk about feeling calmer and more focused, but it's even more powerful when you see how science backs up those experiences.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll be exploring after a short break. As promised, let's jump into that fascinating world of mindfulness research.
Yeah, it's one thing to talk about feeling calmer or more focused, but it's amazing to see how science is actually backing up those anecdotal experiences.
It really is remarkable. Studies have shown that mindfulness-based interventions can lead to some significant reductions in stress, anxiety, and even symptoms of depression.
So we're not just talking about like self-reported feelings here. There's actual measurable evidence.
Exactly. We're talking about measurable changes in brain activity and physiological markers.
So like rewiring your brain for the better.
In a way, yeah. Mindfulness practices have actually been shown to strengthen areas of the brain associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness.
And that's where neuroplasticity comes in, right? The brain's ability to change and adapt.
Absolutely. It's really encouraging because it means that we can actively train our minds for greater well-being.
That's so empowering. It's like we're not stuck with whatever mental patterns we've inherited or developed over time. We can actually create positive change through intentional practice.
And the research goes beyond just mental health benefits. There's growing evidence that mindfulness can improve physical health as well.
Really? Like what?
For example, studies have shown that mindfulness practices can reduce blood pressure, boost the immune system, and even improve sleep quality.
Wow. So we're talking about like a holistic approach to well-being, benefiting both the mind and body.
Precisely. And that's one of the most exciting things about this research.
Earlier, we were talking about how mindfulness can enhance focus and concentration. What does the research say about the impact on cognitive function?
Well, the research in this area is particularly compelling. Studies have shown that mindfulness training can lead to significant improvements in attention, working memory, and even cognitive flexibility.
That cognitive flexibility, meaning
It's the ability to switch between different tasks and adapt to changing demands.
that's huge, especially in today's world where we're constantly like bombarded with information and distractions. It's like mindfulness gives you a mental edge.
It really does. And these cognitive benefits extend beyond just the workplace or the classroom. They can also enhance our relationships and overall quality of life. When we're more present and attentive, we're better able to listen to others, communicate effectively, and appreciate the beauty of each moment.
It's like mindfulness helps us wake up to the richness of our own lives. It's not about escaping reality, but rather about fully engaging with it in a more conscious and meaningful way.
Beautifully put. One thing that really struck me as we delved into these sources was the sheer volume and diversity of research supporting the benefits of mindfulness. It's not just a few isolated studies, but a robust and growing body of evidence from reputable institutions around the world.
It's like pretty undeniable at this point. Mindfulness is not just a fad or a feel-good trend. It's a powerful tool for personal transformation backed by solid scientific evidence.
Absolutely. And the research continues to evolve. Scientists are exploring the potential benefits of mindfulness for a wide range of conditions, from chronic pain and addiction to PTSD and even Alzheimer's disease.
It seems like the possibilities are truly limitless.
And that's what makes this field so exciting. There's always more to discover and explore.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the definitions of mindfulness and meditation, delved into their practical applications, examined the science behind their benefits, and even touched on their spiritual dimensions.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And now, as we wrap up this exploration, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought, something to ponder as they continue their own mindfulness journey.
Yeah, what if we challenge them to go beyond simply understanding mindfulness and actually experience it for themselves?
I love that. So to our listener, the question is this: what is one small step you can take today to bring more mindfulness into your life? It could be as simple as taking a few conscious breaths before starting your workday, savoring your morning coffee with heightened awareness, or choosing to listen attentively the next time someone is speaking to you. Remember, mindfulness is not about achieving perfection, but rather about embracing the practice moment by moment with curiosity and kindness. And as you cultivate this awareness, you might be surprised by the profound impact it has on your well-being, your relationships, and even your perception of the world around you.
It's a journey worth taking.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into mindfulness and meditation. We'll be back next time with another fascinating exploration. Until then, be well and stay mindful.